It's crazy what we can do to ourselves as human beings. You get a momentum going, things are seeming to roll along, and then all of a sudden, boom, you see yourself doing something that you're like, what the heck am I thinking? Or something happens that just stops you in your tracks. And you have enough self-awareness to realize, all right, so I've got some self-sabotage going on. In fact, I hear it all the time that, I sabotage myself. Yet, I don't know that anybody's ever explained, number one, why do you do it? And number two, what to do about it when you find yourself doing that. My buddy Bo's here to help with this because he wants you to stop self-sabotage as well. My name is Felicia Searcy, your Dream Life Activator. It is my joy to be your partner in believing. Your dream is my passion. And in this Facebook Live, I want to help you understand the anatomy of self-sabotage. And most importantly, what to do about it, not only to stop it, but to keep it from happening altogether. And I encourage you to stick around because I have an amazing opportunity, amazing gift I want to offer you in order to keep this conversation going. All right, so you know the drill, that you get a momentum going. Things are starting, it feels like you're finally breaking through. Things are finally starting to happen. And then all of a sudden, you find yourself doing things like not calling people back or letting stuff fall through the cracks or getting in an argument with somebody. You do something to sabotage it. You do something to interrupt the flow. And it's like you're watching yourself. You're observing observing yourself from a distance and you're wondering, what am I doing? And it's every fiber of your being says, you need to stop this now. But it's like there's a word that I'm looking for. It's like you're incapable. You're completely incapable of stopping whatever train derailment path you're on to bring that good to a halt. Or things are rolling along and then all of a sudden something seems to happen outside of you. It's like the gods are conspiring against you. And sometimes it can happen to such a point that you begin to doubt whether or not you should even be doing this thing at all. And you start hunkering down and slowing way down out of pure self-preservation. Drop some hearts if you know what I'm talking about. If you've done it in the past, or maybe you're right in the middle of it. Maybe right now there's something going on, or you find yourself doing something that you just can't seem to pull yourself out of. Well, I want to help you understand what's going on, and then most importantly, know what to do when you find yourself in that situation. It was interesting. I'll never forget this. The first month, I generated in that month what I used to generate annually with the business that I'm in now. That month, the first month, I generated $50,000. My insides went crazy. I just, because I had been at a $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 income level for decades, for years, thinking, that was a fairly good living. The first month I generated that, helping people around the world live lives that they love, my insides went crazy. I got scared that I wasn't going to be able to pay taxes on it. I got afraid that, oh my God, what if I come to depend on this, and it doesn't last? I got afraid of, who around me is going to feel bad because I'm now, my business has grown to that level. And then there was just this insidious voice that said, who do you think you are? What makes you think you can do this? And it's certainly, and here's the thought, right? It's certainly not going to last. This is a fluke. Well, I can tell you, working what I teach you here, it was not a fluke. In fact, I've now blown past that. But I had to put some very specific things in place to help me do what's called stabilize it in order not only to be able to continue it. Hey, Beatrice, talking about what to do when you find yourself self-sabotaging. So not only to continue it, but then to be able to grow on it. And it was really fascinating. The day that I realized that I was actually looking at a financial statement from the last month, and I'm so grateful that I actually had an appointment at my mentor's house where I was able to take my financial statement to her, and we were able to do some work and stabilize it. In fact, my mentor at the time was Mary Morrissey, and her best friend was Bob Proctor. And his big thing was, turn your annual income into a monthly income. And I was doing that. And we got on the phone, and it was just so great to be loved between the two of them. We got on the phone with Bob Proctor, and to be so great to be loved between the two of them in order to normalize it. Now, so why do we even have to do that? What goes on, Nita, that self-sabotage is even a thing? Hey, Nita, really glad that you're here. Well, first of all, I want you to realize that you are wired for safety. You are biologically wired to keep you safe. And in your mind, safety equates with status quo. It's like you know how to do your status quo. You don't know how to do something more. So when something beyond anything that you've ever known for yourself before starts percolating and starts happening, your system sees it as danger. This is a risk. This is dangerous. We need to stop this immediately, Tammy. We need to put a halt to whatever's going on. And the thing about it is that your body cannot distinguish. Your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between whether it's a good something happening or a bad something happening. It just feels something different going on. Mel Robbins talks about, yeah, good, Nita. I'm glad this is speaking to you. Mel Robbins talks about the spotlight effect, that your brain will spotlight something that's out of the ordinary. And so when something good, let me put it this way, because you've already got amazing stuff happening in your life. It's not that anything good is happening, but something new, something more expansive begins to happen. It alerts your system that something's out of the ordinary. So that month, my goal had been turn my annual income into my monthly income, turn my annual income into my monthly income. It's what I focused on. It's what I poured energy into. And it happened. And then, like I said, I've blown past that now, which I'm deeply grateful for. And as I support people from all over the world in creating lives that they love. But those first couple of months where my annual income then became my monthly income, I didn't know what to do with that. My system went so much into overload, so much into overdrive, because it was so beyond anything that I've ever known for myself before. And my system said, this is dangerous. Now, logically, it doesn't make any sense. In fact, you're like, well, of course, bring it on. I'd love that. And from a conceptual, logical perspective, absolutely. But your system sees it that there's something dangerous about it. So, number one, understand that you are wired for safety. You're wired for the status quo. And when you start going beyond anything that you've ever known for yourself up until this point, your system is going to read it as dangerous. Your whole being is going to read it as something being that there's a danger, that you're encountering a danger, and it needs to eliminate the danger. It needs to bring the risk down. And so we find ourselves just doing really crazy, goofy things in order to bring us back down to the status quo where our system can relax and think, okay, now we're okay. The other thing is you have Lorna, oh, it's so good to see you. I hope you registered for the course that I posted in our Facebook group that you're now a member of. The other thing is that you have a way of seeing yourself. You have an identity. The way you see yourself, the identity that you identify with, determines how much success and how much good. Marcia, you're another one. Really good to see you, Marcia. Thrilled that you joined the Facebook group. You have an identity that there's a level of success that's congruent to the way you see yourself. And so I had an identity of being very middle class. You know, I grew up literally below the poverty line. You know, I mean, life was tough growing up, as it was for many of us. And so when I hit a level of $50,000, $60,000 a year, I thought I was doing really well. I had an identity of a solid middle class woman working. And so that month I did, that first month, because again, I've blown it out of the water. That first month I did 50,000 in a month. I had nothing to identify with it. Now, I had been doing some work of building my identity, which I'm going to talk about here in a second. But at that point, that identity was not rock solid enough in order for me to treat it as normal. I was in that place where I was wavering between a successful entrepreneur bringing terrific impact to people and being that middle class employee. And that disconnect, there was a huge disconnect in my mind. That first month, my monthly income matched what my annual income used to be. And I had to do the work that I'm sharing with you in order to do what's called normalize it, stabilize it, in order for you to continue it and then grow on it. So number one, understand that you are wired for safety. So I'm answering the question, why is it that we sabotage ourselves in the first place? Number one, you're wired for safety. That when your body, your system observes or witnesses something, experiences something out of the ordinary, which is a higher degree of success, it will do everything it can to bring you back to status quo, to bring you back to what it believes is safety. And number two, you have a way of seeing yourself. You have an identity that my dogs just want to get in on the action today. So I hope we have animal people here. They're reinforcing what I'm telling you. That you have a way of seeing yourself. Maxwell Maltz wrote Cybernetics back in the 60s, said that we will never outperform the way we see ourselves. So a key piece of this work is increasing the way that you see yourself, growing an identity that's a match for whatever level of success that you want to create. All right, so those are some of the reasons why we do it. There's the whole thing around not deserving and who are we going to leave behind and what is this going to mean if we do this. I hope you're hanging in there with me as we got a bit of a zoo. Talk about sabotage, but stay with the message. Stay with the message here. All right, so what do we do about it? Let's get into what we do about it. All right, so number one, understand that it's a thing. It is not just some conceptual, hoorah that people are making up. That it is actually a physiological, biological thing. That there is that in you that will seek to dial down your good. So do not deny the impact of this. Do not deny the power of this. Doesn't mean you have to be afraid of it or all wadded up about it, but just be aware that this is a real thing. Self-sabotage in order to keep you safe and keep you aligned with the way you see yourself. It's a real thing. Now, hand in hand with that, understand that you are wired to grow. You are wired to keep pushing the envelope. I will talk about this on almost every single live. And what I talk about is wanting you to really get just how powerful and how brilliant and how potent you are. It is indescribable, the power that you have been created with. It's breathtaking, your potential that lies at your fingertips. And you know this on a conceptual level. You have evidence of it in your life because you can see how far you've come. You can see what you've already accomplished. And guess what? The universe is not done with you. There's so much more the universe wants you to discover about yourself. There's so much more that the universe wants you to experience. It's crazy how loved and cherished and adored you are. And it's crazy how gifted you are and how the universe longs for you to discover that. And the way that the universe does that is through two signals to your soul. Number one, it sends a signal of discontent. It sends a signal, Jeanette, that says, hey, what you've got is good, and now it's time to move on to something more. And then it sends a signal of longing, where you begin to formulate a new possibility for yourself. Your dream, that longing, was not given to you to torture you. It was given to you to bless you, to expand you, to grow you, to help you discover more of who you are created to be. And the fact that you're in this Facebook group means that you have something magnificent, Jasmine, that's seeking expression through you, beyond anything that you've known before, which requires a risk. Remember, you sabotage because you see growth as a risk, and it requires you to begin to identify yourself differently, more expansively. So, how do we change it? Number one, understand that self-sabotage really is a phenomenon. Number two, understand that you are breathtaking in your capacity, in your potential, in your ability, in your brilliance, and how loved you are, and that your dream is the way that the universe invites you to wake that up. All right, now, number three, knowing this, you're learning to listen to your discontent is one of the things that I really help people do and understand, because that discontent is the beginning of the conversation with the divine essence. You're really beginning to pay attention to what is it that is seeking expression through you. And then you pour energy into it and you begin to act on it. Now, this is where the sabotage starts coming in, right? Things start happening, things start rolling, and then all of a sudden you find yourself doing things to bring you back to status quo. So one of the ways that you can transform that is by learning to notice the small wins along the way from the get-go. The minute you make a decision for your dream, and you want to make a decision for it, and there's a whole nother teaching that I've done around that, you want to make a decision for it, and then you start acting toward it. And as you act toward it, as you're taking action steps, persistent and consistent, massive and perfect action steps, you want to start noticing the slight growth, the micro moves forward. The way that I describe it is that you want to start noticing the sprouts. I went to a yoga class the other day. I haven't been to a yoga class in 8 months since the pandemic. Now, this was a very different yoga class. I'm probably not going to go back because it was like a calisthenic class with some yoga thrown in. But afterwards, my body was really, really sore. I realized that 8 months of not being in a structured yoga class, that even though I was doing yoga on my own, I wasn't doing it to the level that they were doing it. And what I realized is that I need to ease my way back into it. I need to honor my body and ease my way back into it. Now, not to get lost with the subject here, let's not get down a rabbit hole. Where I'm going with that is that you want to notice the buildup along the way, that when you take action steps, there will be things that will start to happen along the way that are evidence that things are beginning to unfold for you. There's evidence that things are beginning to unlock and move for you. And you want to become like a detective to notice those micro moves along the way. And not just notice them, but really acknowledge them. Notice what it feels like in your body to be at that next micro level. Because now you're like, just like I'm start building back up to that level of a yoga class, you want to build the identity and the muscle and the skill set, because I'm going to talk about that in number 4. The skill set in order for you to be able to handle the success that's starting to come your way, or that's growing beyond what you've known up to this point before. So you're paying attention to the micro wins. You're noticing literally what it feels like in your body, and you're normalizing it. You're saying, hey, this is now my normal. This is how it happens. And you begin to put on the identity. You zip yourself into the skin of the identity of the woman who's succeeding at this level. All right. Now, number 4 is that trust your ability to learn and grow the capacity. Susan, so good to see you here, Susan. Trust your ability to learn and grow your capacity to be able to handle more success. Let me grab a quick drink of water here. Again, I go back to that example. That first month I made in a month what I used to do annually, which was a really healthy middle income salary. I got afraid that I wouldn't be able to handle it. I got afraid that I wouldn't be able to handle the finances as my finances grew. I wouldn't be able to handle what was going to be required in order to support my growth in my business. I got afraid that I wasn't going to be able to pay my taxes right. And then I moved to California. Well, I was living in California still, and I still live in California and love it. But, there's a whole new tax structure in California compared to where I was before. And all of that fear started talking to me. I doubted my ability to learn this. So one of the thing I want you to really get is that the fact that you're moving and things are starting to happen means you have the ability to learn what's required in order to actively engage with it, sustain it, and keep it growing. Remember, the purpose of your dream is to grow you. It's to grow you in awareness of who you are, and it's to grow you in your skills and capabilities that you will then utilize and put in service to your dream. So I had to learn to be the woman to understand her numbers. I had to learn to be the woman to bring a team on that would help me with taxes and employees and that sort of thing. I didn't have a clue on how to do any of that before I got started. But I trusted the power that wove me into existence that gave me the ability to learn it. So you may not know exactly how to do it when things start rolling, but it's an indicator. It's your indication for you now to step into your next level of training, to step into your next level of learning. All right, so again, number 1, understand, I'm talking about what to do about this, what to do about self-sabotage. Number 1, understand it's a thing. Self-sabotage really is a thing. Number 2, understand you are built to grow. That the reason we do it is because we're wired for safety, and success is a risk because it's new and it does not align with the way that you see yourself. So those are the reasons why we do it. The way that we can overcome it, number 1, understand it's a thing. Number 2, understand that you are wired for growth. You are wired to dream because you have this amazing, indescribable, unlimited power that the universe is longing for you to unlock and unleash. And your dream, your desire, your vision is the way to do it. Number 3. What was number 3? Oh, normalize it. That you want to start paying attention to the micro wins along the way in order to normalize the new growth. And for you to be able to say, hey, this is how I roll. See, this is happening. Of course this is happening. I'm putting energy into it. Number 4, understand that you have what it takes to learn what you need to learn in order to be able to sustain the growth and in order to keep the growth going. That you are 100% capable of learning what you need to learn. And then number 5, and this is a biggie, really begin to work with the awareness that you deserve this. You deserve the good that's coming to you. So often we sabotage ourselves. And remember, go back to what I said at the very beginning, that we sabotage ourselves because we don't see ourselves from that perspective. We don't see ourselves at that level of success. And one of the reasons why we don't see ourselves is because there's this embedded insidious thought pattern that says, I just don't deserve this much good. That if I get this much good, then somebody else around me is going to suffer. Or who do I think I am? Here's how you know you deserve this much good. I want you to hold your hand up in front of your face, and if you're doing this, drop some hearts. Drop some hearts and some comments if you're able to relate to any of what you're hearing today, if any of this is resonating with you. But how do you know you deserve it? I want you to put your hand in front of your face right now, and I want you to exhale. Drop a heart if you felt your breath. Yeah, Nita, good. If you felt your breath, that's evidence that you deserve it. You deserve it because you're here. And you're here because there's something, an energy, a power, a creative life force that saw a hole in the universe, saw that there was something missing, and knew that the only thing that could fill that hole, the only thing that could fill the missing piece was you. And this creative life force, this divine intelligence, the consciousness of all, wove you into existence from the very fabric of love, the very fabric of itself, which is love, and put you here with your unique individual collection of gifts and capabilities and propensities and magic, beauty, and brilliance that is you. And the fact that you are here is evidence that you deserve it. When you were woven into existence, you were woven with the promise that you would be given everything required to live this life richly, fully, completely, joyously, abundantly. Fill in the blank with whatever word works for you. So when you start going down that rabbit hole of, oh my gosh, I don't deserve this much good, put your hand in front of your mouth, exhale to remind you, oh yeah, I deserve it because I'm here. I deserve it because I'm here by divine appointment. I didn't wake myself up this morning. I didn't put myself here. I can't even take one breath on my own. All of that is evidence that I deserve it. All right, so let's keep this conversation going. Self-sabotage, one of the key things that will stop you dead in your tracks from really achieving the dream that you are here to achieve. All right, so I'd love to support you further with this. If this has resonated with you, I invite you. I'm doing a free masterclass on Friday where we're really going to dig deep into the formula of how to unlock your power, your potential, your possibility to satisfy that ache of, oh my God, I know there's so much more, in order for you to put it in service to a life that you love, knowing this is your highest contribution to the body of humanity. Join me Friday, 9 to 11:30 Pacific time. I'm in California, so this is a Pacific time zone. It's free. We're going to dig deep. The only thing I ask is that you make a contribution to a charity of your choice. I don't care what you contribute to. I want you to contribute something, so there's some kind of exchange in the universe. We're going to dig deep into what is the system of transformation, what is the code to achieve your dream. We're going to really dig into what is it that you would really love, understanding the power of that question and how to really ask and listen to that question. We're going to look at the things that stop you, self-sabotage being one of them. What are the things that stop you from moving forward, and go deeper into tools where you'll have practical application of how to apply those tools. And then if we have time, I'm going to teach you a method to be able to tap into the stream of infinite intelligence to know what your next step is in order to keep your momentum going. And then a key piece of it is normalizing. We're normalizing your growth, your next level of success. So again, Friday, October 30th, we're going to meet on Zoom. The link to register is up in the description. It's FeliciaSearcy.com/dreamlife. Click that, register, make plans, invest time in you on Friday to learn how to really unlock this amazing potential that is you, so you can live your dream in order to bring your highest contribution to the body of humanity. Friday, 9 to 11:30. Link is up in the description. Register. Let me help you move forward in creating the life that you were meant to live. All right, so once again, my name is Felicia Searcy. It is my joy to be your partner in believing. Your dream is my passion. God bless. Yes, Nita, it's up in the description, and it's FeliciaSearcy.com/dreamlife, and I'll put it in the comments. All right, see you on Friday. Mwah. God bless.